friends. John McKay just made my day, and he doesn't even know it. Lance, we were talking about you a second ago, talking about some of your bygone days.
Uh-oh.
And he said,
good stuff.
Said, Lance was a big, formidable fella back in the days when he was in shape and fit.
Oh, come on. Yeah. I hear you, John. Hey, thank you. That's motivating.
Lance, we've all reached middle age, hadn't we, buddy?
Yeah, we have.
Amen to that.
I accelerated through it, So.
John McKay, President and CEO of the Mississippi Manufacturers Association. I promise to be more engaged with you today than I was the last time we visited. A lot of the conversation this morning that we've had has been about early childhood education, getting kids ready from right out of the gate. Middle school, high school education, trying to guide some of the choices that they're making for future employment. We've talked about workforce development and career training, certificate programs. You work with manufacturers all over the state of Mississippi. What is if you take all of those conversations, you go, man, that sounds great. What's the practical application of that? What are your members looking for in terms of new hires or in terms of upgrading positions for people that work for them already?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And really, I'll kind of start back when I first got into this world, now approaching almost 20 years ago. When I first started, the thinking really was we needed to find people, mainly post-high school folks that were looking for employment, and either find them training opportunities or train them in-house. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that thinking has evolved, especially post-pandemic, of we can't think of workforce development as something that happens after high school. It really is a continuum. You could start in elementary school, but let's say you start in middle school, of
Sure.
really exposing young people to what opportunities are out there. And to us, that's one of the biggest hurdles is you can drive highways all over the state and see those big metal buildings on the side of the road, and few people know what goes on in those buildings. And that's the fault of, honestly, industry, because we haven't told our story. There are incredible facilities with the highest technology in the world right here in Mississippi, but most people don't even know that they exist. So we have to do better about getting into the schools, explaining what opportunities exist, and then training for those. And that starts in high school. So there are career and technical education programs in high school that lead to those pathways.
It's funny that you say that about not telling the story and painting the picture, because I think for most people, the mental image of a manufacturing facility or a factory is low light, grimy, dirty floors, grease in machines, uniforms of the workers, and they got a hole in one elbow,
Sure.
and the reality is
It's very, very different.
I've walked through a manufacturing facility in the last couple of years, and it looked like I could have sat down and eaten breakfast off the floor. Spotless,
100%.
automated,
Yes.
technology, clean workers that have got their safety gear on, but they've got, starch-pressed uniforms. It's not the image that exists, I think, in a lot of people's minds still.
That's right. And really, manufacturing employment. Now, I will have to say, there are still jobs in manufacturing that are tough and loud and those kind of things.
Absolutely.
Now, we have done a tremendous job on the safety aspect. So if you're in a loud environment, you've got protection from head to toe. All of those things are in place. But the vast majority of new advanced manufacturing facilities, there are none of those aspects. I mean, it literally is a clean environment. Things are laid out in a way that make the work very different and easier on the folks that actually do the work. The other thing that's happened is you, quite frankly, need fewer people to do those jobs, but you need them at a much higher skill set. So all of that automation that you mentioned, all of that technology in those facilities, you need somebody to come in and be able to, diagnose and fix those machines if they go down. And that takes a different level of skill. And that's where we really need our educational partners from K-12, community college, and quite frankly, IHL. I sit on the board of the Center for Manufacturing Excellence at Ole Miss.
Right.
And the level of talent coming out of that program is incredible. I'm talking world class. They get recruited all over the country to get the talent that comes out of those programs. And
Really?
we need more of those in Mississippi. Mississippi State, unbelievable engineering program. those students are highly sought after. Those are the folks that come in and really do the job of, 50 years ago, 10, 20 people would do those jobs. Now you have one person that kind of operates a whole sector of a plant. So it's really incredible the way it's changed.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Ole Miss and Mississippi State, Southern Miss. I mean, there are some of the oceanic engineering work that is happening.
The polymer sciences at Southern Miss is unbelievable. I mean, that's a facility. We work with them with companies that need assistance with their processes, and those folks will come in and explain that these higher-end composites could actually replace some of the components that they've had in their products for years. It's a very neat field.
So, John McKay, President and CEO of the Mississippi Manufacturers Association, visiting with us. I understand that there are idiosyncrasies within each manufacturing company, right? I mean, there are unique qualities that exist. What are the positions that are kind of across the board?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter whether you're building cars or you're building microchips or you're building turbine engines or anything in between.
Sure.
Every manufacturing group needs this. Fill in the blank.
Yeah, so I would first start with industrial maintenance technicians. And that's a broad category of folks, but essentially you get trained to go in and be in a manufacturing facility and be the person that when anything goes wrong with the line or the machinery, you step in and get that equipment back up and running so that production can continue. And that's incredibly important because now in manufacturing, you have such a dynamic of just-in-time processes. So manufacturers don't keep inventory on hand for months out. They are literally day-to-day, week-to-week on inventory. So if the line goes down, they could have a whole backlog of inventory that stacks up, and they just can't have that. I mean, that's a production method that really has taken over not only the United States, but quite frankly, the world. So it's moving in a very different direction.
Interesting stuff. When you watch the news, you see the announcement from a company like NVIDIA a couple of days ago. $500 billion investment over the next 4 years. They're going to build supercomputer microchips here. That's happening in Arizona. That's happening in Texas. Texas has been a hub for economic development for a long time. Do you see Mississippi trending in that direction? I mean, we've seen so many economic development announcements from the governor's office in the last 6 years that he's been there. Can Mississippi continue to grow in this space?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you've seen that momentum from the governor and his team. It's been incredible progress. But again, that goes back and highlights the need for this workforce development. Not only do we need to train at a higher level, we need to train at a higher volume. So that means we need to keep our best and brightest here in Mississippi. But also we need to, again, from the lowest levels to the highest levels, really concentrate on the jobs of the future. And that's tough because what happens is in these educational environments, you start programs and they sort of get on autopilot. They're good quality programs, but they're looking backwards at the jobs that we have had. We need to be a lot more diligent about the future jobs, the AWSs, the NVIDIAs, all of those type positions.
Do you see manufacturing companies trying to do everything in-house, or are they contracting services out as well? And so within this career training and building the workforce, I'm thinking about other career paths, whether it's working in the electrical space, the plumbing space, or the HVAC space, or the construction space. Do those opportunities exist just as much as side-by-side industries with manufacturing, or is that different?
Well, I mean, essentially the framework for the issues we're having in both of those spaces are identical. We need more people to do those jobs, and quite frankly, they're great jobs. But what we haven't done is been very deliberate about training for those jobs. And so in the construction space especially, I'm on the State Workforce Investment Board, and that's an area that we've really concentrated on because in order to get the AWS facility up and running.
You have people to build it.
Absolutely. And the amount of HVAC that those supercomputers need to cool themselves down is incredible. And you can't have one go out for a day or two. They have to be constantly there. And so you'll have more HVAC employees at those facilities than you will some other technicians. So it really is. It all works together. And those are the jobs we really need to fill. And again, expose people at a younger age to those opportunities because, again, I think electrician and plumber, those jobs don't look the same as they did 40 years ago.
Oh, I completely agree with that. There's no question.
And they can name their price when they come out.
I was going to say, and in terms of the ability to make a great, not a good living, not a livable living,
yes,
a great living.
Absolutely.
It surpasses a lot of other fields.
Yep.
John, always appreciate your time.
Thank you, Richard.
Good to be with you, and have a great day. On the panel later, right after lunch. You got to keep everybody awake right after lunch.
It's a tough order.
John McKay, President, CEO, Mississippi Manufacturers Association. A fast 3 hours. We'll wrap it up with Scott Waller from MEC right after this.